second night on our drive to Spain with the van and the trailer. It's about 4 to 5 hours away from Barcelona, but we were just kind of hanging out here and getting all set up with two tents and a little campfire, and we were just about to get the fire started when this French guy came up. He told us that there was like a fire hazard warning right now there, so we can't do any fire. So I told him, well, we're just trying to cook our sausages, and then he just offered to take us to his house, and so we got to go to his house, hang out a little bit. We showed him a couple of videos from No Longer Music.
That is your tent is here, and where you cook your sausage.
We're going to Spain soon, we're going to Portugal soon, and just hearing that it's known as the missionary graveyard is just so exciting because, we're going there, and we don't expect to find gravestones, we don't expect it to be dead, we expect to actually do something there.
What I'm expecting for Spain and Portugal is that God is going to move powerfully. He has done this like last year, and we have all that shows in Spain, and first of all, people were they were really kind of afraid of what we're doing and if that was really effective or not, and afterwards people just saw the results and the fruits afterward. We want to see bigger things than last year. We want to see people coming to Jesus no matter what cost.
I think right now it may seem kind of discouraging. We wanted 12 shows. There's a maximum maybe of 8, and that's not really a surprise because last year was like that too. But I think that God is really gonna rock Spain this year, and there's gonna be so many surprises.
I love Spain. Spain was probably my favorite country that we toured on last year. I know that place is dead, and they need a light. They need Jesus there, and so I know that God is gonna move, and I'm so excited about what is happening in the church there and all the connections that we have there.
Muchas gracias por vuestra visita, por venir a evangelizar aquí a esta ciudad, y esperamos que muchas personas vengan a escuchar el Evangelio.
My name is Willem van der Pol. I'm the coordinator of the No Longer Music Band in Spain, and so basically responsible for organizing all the concerts. We saw many shows fall through. In the end, we've done 8 venues, but just to give you an idea, we had 30 doors closed. That seemed pretty feasible.
Following Jesus is not always easy. Perseverance is a required test, no matter what. This was our 3rd time touring here in Spain. Every time we've been, it's a battle. Our early shows yielded small crowds and even less tangible fruit. We felt the struggle to keep going and just how easy it would be to turn back. Even when facing trials of many kinds, perseverance was producing a better work in us.
So we've been getting our tour worked on for months now, and really just a week ago, a couple of our dates fell through. And so one of our local contacts here, his name is Jonathan, got all the permissions in, got everything that he needed. We showed up the day of the concert, and we hear that our permission's actually been denied.
We began seeking God together as a team that He would move in power. Only a few hours later, our permissions to perform in the city had been granted back to us.
It's challenging, as you can see. We're trying to figure out how the heck to get in here. But Kerrison's like MacGyver, kind of a bowl cut, So he'll figure it out, and I'm ready to rock, man. I think this is great. Like they say, this is probably the greatest spot in this city to play. They're advertising all day in the high schools, and I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be a great show, and we'll get through this, and we'll be ready to rock.
All our obstacles had been overcome. We were convinced this would be a great night, but humanly speaking, it simply wasn't. Only a handful of people came to the show, and the response to the message at the end was minimal. It was a low point for our time in Spain and for the whole tour. For us, it really is all about the message. Coming all this way only for a few to hear was not what we had envisioned.
I've definitely been in a lot of circumstances where there haven't been visible signs of fruit, and a lot like on this tour so far. But you really have to stand on the promise that God's word does not return void.
You know, our time in Spain and Portugal was really hard, if I'm honest. I mean, the fruit was not overly visible, the crowds were small, you know, but I've been in these circumstances over and over on tour, and what I've learned is that you really at the core have to ask, who am I doing this for? You know, is this enough to just do it for God? Am I gonna give it everything when things look bad and just leave the results in His hands?
Halfway through our tour of Spain, we played a few shows in Portugal. We all hoped that a change in scenery would bring different results, but the hard times seemed to follow us.
My expectation? I don't know.
But it's cold, not a lot of people here. Voice hurts and I'm in a van. But the good news is I have my leather pants on with patches. So I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Kind of expecting nobody to be here. And I'm like, okay, what's this gonna be like? Be a test?
I think we cracked the double digits, crowd participation. And we're gonna give it everything we got. I got nothing.
We want people, we need people to come. Yeah, we expect the power of God to come.
With team morale already being at an all-time low, our next show marked the lowest point on the tour. Despite being the middle of summer, temperatures plummeted to freezing and less than 50 people gathered to watch us. We played with as much enthusiasm as we could muster, but it was impossible to stop the thoughts of, why are we even here? Maybe God just hasn't called us to play a role in this part of the world. This time would prove a huge character test.
Let's not let all this, let's pass the test of having a great stage and a great PA. And I think we've got a pretty amazing group of people here, but it can't be about the people. It can't be about us, or great songs, or great performances. But we gotta pass this test. And it's not just about saying it with our words, we need to really, and this is when it counts now, in these kinds of situations, how are we gonna behave? Where's my attitude, Will I be able to be someone God can trust? Or will I get seduced by the whole thing? So, we've got some big stages coming this year, and I don't want to be doing it I don't want to do it for the people or for any of that. I want to really be doing it for Jesus.
We've often encountered critical times on tour where things aren't easy and we have to decide how to react and to consider what really drives us. It's in these moments we are forced back to the basics. We simply began to seek God. We cried out and said, God, you know why we are here. We can't control the crowds, the weather, the response, but what we have, we give to you. God, if you want to use us to make a difference in this part of the world, we are willing, but we can't do it without you. It wasn't long after this, God revealed His glory and reminded us just how spectacular He is. He provided the best location in Sevilla, right beside a gorgeous river. 1,500 people heard the gospel. It was so much more, though, than the numbers. The atmosphere felt supercharged with God's joy and peace. It was a critical turnaround, not only for Spain, but for the whole tour.
Is there anyone here that wants to know if there's any purpose to life besides getting old and dying? You can know this God that I'm talking about.
Puedes conocer a este Dios del cual hablo.
If you are here and you want to know God like I'm talking about, say that to him now. Jesus, thank you that you love me. Thank you that you died for me. And with your help, I want to follow you for the rest of my life.
When it's a normal morning, I'm not very... It's a normal morning, I'm not really a normal... Take 3! No, it's a normal morning, I'm not really a morning person. But when it's a really early morning, I can kind of truck it through. And it's a really early morning right now. So we went to bed around 1 a.m. And we're doing 2 shows in a prison today. So if you count it up, the 2 shows today that we're doing at 11 o'clock and 5 o'clock, and then the one that we did last night around 9 o'clock last night, that's 3 shows in 24 hours. Personal record and I think a tour record.
You know, I've been able to have the privilege of playing in a lot of prisons, and God always moves in such power. You just get a sense for God's broken heart for these men and these women who are clearly, you know, in a really broken place. And so they were very engaged, they were very open, and it was an overwhelming response, really it was. So we're really, to be honest, quite humbled by how God would use us in such a powerful way.
If Jesus came to Madrid, the first place he would go is here. He would be here. Jesus made it possible for everyone to come into his presence. If you want this Jesus, I want you to stand up with me now, and I want to pray that Jesus will come into your life.
Soy Ana María, soy coordinadora de la Iglesia Evangélica aquí en Extremera, en la prisión de Extremera.
¿Qué te pareció el show?
¡Un alucine!
It was awesome. ¿Qué crees que ha hecho Dios hoy en el corazón de los prisioneros?
Les ha llamado la atención a tener una relación con Dios, a cambiar de vida, que puedan identificarse con el espectáculo y puedan entender lo que Jesús hizo por ellos.
You know, in that first show, I don't know if I've ever felt God's love for people that strongly, and you know, we're exhausted, but it's so worth it. Like it's one of those tiredness where you're tired, but you're like so content and so full of joy because what God has done today has just been so openly powerful.
Our time in Spain was exhausting, but God provided grace and mercy in our time of need. Even in a country as seemingly close to Jesus as Spain, we experienced the power of God on display. I can't think of one place where the gospel cannot change lives.
You know, sometimes in ministry, you don't always see right away what God is doing, and this is the case on tour as well. And you just have to give that up to God and just persevere anyway. But every once in a while, you get to have that gift of seeing that, you know, what didn't appear to be fruitful at the time really was. And that was the case in Priego de Cordoba, where we thought nothing had happened. And we come back the next year, and 7 people have given their lives to Jesus, and a new church has been planted in that city. Or our time in Portugal, where we thought, are we even supposed to be here? I mean, what is the point? There was so little visible fruit. And yet we find the next year we go back, and God gives us probably one of the most vivid examples of life transformation I've ever seen.
Yeah, I really like the message because in Belgium we learn at school that God is not real, but you're very real about God. So it's just amazing. When I prayed with you 2 guys, I felt complete. I think it's the first time in my life I felt really complete.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. So what do you think is going to change in your life?
I'm going to believe in God. I'm gonna find a purpose in life, I think. Because now, I don't know what I have to do. Just living life day by day, but I don't like it. Yeah. I just want a purpose to live for. A reason to live your life, you know?
Yeah.
It's totally by accident I came across this.
But it's not. It wasn't an accident. God had you here for a reason.
It's destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
After Spain, we drove toward Albania in southeastern Europe. It required 3 days for our convoy of vans and heavy vehicles to navigate 1,800 kilometers of windy, narrow roads.
We got to the border like 2 a.m. and they were closed on the Albanian side, and we slept here, but it's 7 a.m. and now we're heading in the line so we can make it all the way to Albania and get through this last border.
Well, the journey was actually pretty good, except for that we waited way too long on the borders. Luke did a nice job on the last border here because they had a problem with their internet, so they couldn't process our carnet. So they let us through in like half an hour. So we actually made it in time for the concert. The main problem now is that we don't have power, so the way it looks now, we won't have a concert tonight.
The team felt like we had passed our test on perseverance, realizing that crowds and circumstances were God's to orchestrate. We hoped things would be easier in Albania, but on arrival, we quickly learned that would not be the case. Instead of small crowds as our main issue, we faced technical problems and big rowdy crowds, both of which would test our commitment.
When the lights weren't working, I just immediately felt like this is just an attack. Like there's really no reason. And like thinking about how last year when we did all those shows, like we had challenges where like, you know, people were like forming mobs or like situations that felt really fearful for me, and I never had really felt that before, but nothing ever stopped the shows from happening.
It was a little frustrating for me yesterday because when I was trying to speak, you know, the kids grabbing me and stuff in my ear and all that. And it's like really hard to preach when you want to just talk about God's love and you know what I mean? And it's not right. I'm just telling you, being honest, it was a struggle.
This is our 5th show in 5 nights here in Albania. We are Tirana, which is the capital. It's so important that we're here. I mean, you can see the mosque in the background. This country really is at a crossroads which way it's going to go. I mean, Islam is strong here and is trying to hold on to people, but at the same time, the gospel is moving. God's working in power through this tour, and we're excited to be a part of it, so we have high expectations for tonight.
You and I were made by a passionate God. It's a Father who loves us. Who knows us. Cries for us. But because of the pollution in the world and in my own life, I've lost contact with this good Father. And that's why Jesus came to the earth, to make it possible for us to know God again.
Kam 45 muaj që kam filluar rikthimin e Jezu Krishtit ke kisha këtu. Jo, kam vazhduar ta pranoj, domethënë çdo ditë nga pak, e kupton, është diçka e vështirë totalisht, nuk është as thjesht po dhe po mbaroj, e kupton. Duhet. Po unë do sonte domethënë ndjeva diçka, kjo do ketë domethënë se kam qenë 2 fe tjera ke parasysh diçka ka qenë e ftohtë. Domethënë ka pak kohë që jam kthyer bashkë me shokët e mi dhe kam filluar të ndjej atë.
Me të shfaqjen që dhatë është shumë prekse, domethënë kur paken nga pak, domethënë që unë nuk mundem ta pranoj ai shpejt, domethënë diçka që s'jam, e ke parasysh. Unë jam musliman, nuk jam se jam bashkë me Jezusin. Shumë e vështirë është, po është diçka që vërtet të ndryshon jetën pastaj. Jetën familje.
My name is Walter, and it's the first time for me to see the show. Actually, we're very glad you're here because
We need such of these things, you know, in our city, because people think that the ones who believe in God, they should be religious people. I don't think they think God's so religious now. I think the people who heard the message, they think God more personal, more everyday God life. I mean, everyday life God, you know.
Every show in Albania was a struggle, but God remained faithful and the impact was undeniable. What a joy, what an honor to share the gospel of love with the beautiful people of Albania.
When NLM was in Berat last year, I heard the music and the message, and I felt a fire inside of me. At that time, I was not a good person. I was a bad person. When the show finished, I was thinking, sign my name or not? Something inside me said, sign your name. So I wrote down my name and number, and a week later my pastor called me. Since that day, I've never been separated from God and my church, because on that day, a new life started in me. I was born again.
I think on this tour, some of the hardest times for the team have been in Spain and Albania. Now, I've been doing this ministry for 30 years, and it's not always been easy. Sometimes we've done concerts where people have spit on us. Sometimes we've been playing alone in the cold and the rain. And I've seen that part of success in ministry comes by just not quitting. I think real ministry involves blood, sweat, and tears. Jesus said in John 16:33 that in this world you will have trouble, but be courageous, I have overcome the world. And if we are going to really make an impact in this world, we need to surrender, we need to give everything and understand that it's going to cost.
Here we are in Ukraine, 60 km from where people are fighting now. And last night we were just kind of, you know, it was a kind of weird vibe. We were kind of, you know, not afraid, but also we were not very comfortable. So we felt that we had to pray. And during the whole night, you know, two of us, we were praying hour by hour.
Today it's like peace, everything is good. But tomorrow it's can be many people's cars here and bombs and we don't know.
I want to know Jesus like that. Don't be ashamed. I want to know Jesus like that.